Hey guys, how you doing? I'm Carol, over 50, making it better. I thought I would jump on and let you know, bring you up to date what's going on with me and all the little tests I had to go through. And also I had something to talk to you guys about today. So if you don't know me, just check out my other videos. I'm always talking about something. Okay, let's see. First of all, I had to go have an echocardiogram done yesterday. And I have been wearing a heart monitor since, I think, last Monday. And I have to wear that until the end of this week and then mail it back. And I guess then they put it in a computer of some kind or whatever and read my heart stuff. Okay, so hopefully that'll turn out okay. I did get my results from my echo from yesterday, and I'm trying to get this adjusted right here. Okay, and let's see. According to what I read, because the doctor hasn't called me yet, and according to what I read on my pathology report, everything seems to look pretty good. They're still trying to figure out why my heart does what it does and fibrillates sometime. And so when I find that out, I'll let you guys know. But they said everything seemed to look good, but that my heart ran only 40 heartbeats a minute through the whole test. But that's how my heart usually is. I mean, I had a surgery, if you remember, an endoscopy 2 months ago, I think. And the anesthesiologist was saying, you know, you need to get checked because your heart was bebopping from 40 to 80 and back again, and you know, and that did scare the hell out of me. I'm not gonna lie. I thought, gosh, what if I need another surgery? You know, I'm gonna be afraid. But anywho, so since my heart started waking me up during the night with it pounding, or you know, I used to get that with anxiety, but this what would I say? This fibrillation was different. It was very bad when I had my anxiety, don't get me wrong. But this was just, it was different. It didn't last long. Sometimes a minute or two, sometimes 10 minutes. I could be sitting here, I could be sleeping, I could get up from the chair and go into the kitchen. It would start, and then a minute later it would stop. So that's what they're checking on. And so I'm hoping that when this monitor, which I still got it on here, when that comes off, when that comes off, I'm hoping that's just as good as my echo results. Now, what I did want to talk to you guys about is I had made some notes for a video before any of this ever even came up that I was going to talk to you guys about, because I've been hearing a lot of people talk about online, elderly, seniors, living in the rural areas. Is that safe for them? Because they're so far from, some of them are far from hospitals or whatever. So I had to write myself notes, as you know. So let's see. I'm 68. And for a while now, I have wondered the same thing. Well, I love living in the rural areas. I don't want to live like in Bumble somewhere, but I like living in rural areas. I don't like the city. I grew up in the city. I raised my kids partially in the suburbs of Chicago, and then I moved them to Florida, where I had my last child. And but yeah, I still just kind of kept outside the city limits. It's just a preference I have, I guess. But I'm wondering what y'all think about that, because I have had friends that live in their van, live in their cars, in their RVs, whatever, and you know, I've always wondered, well, good Lordy, what happens when they're, you know, if something happened, if they got sick? Well, it so happened that one of my friends that I watched a lot, he did get sick. And I didn't know this, but some of the RVers have a policy where they pay so much every month or something, and it's for people who live out far, and they pay it to this company that they have the Medivac or something like that, and they will come get you and take you to the closest hospital. And he had had a stroke, so I mean, it came in handy for him. And but he's doing okay from what I understand. Taking a break from YouTube, but doing okay. But so I started wondering about everybody else, like, what do you think about that? Do you think it's too dangerous for people to live out in the country at our age, in the rural areas? And the reason that I say that is because, like, where I live now, we only have one ambulance. You know, so I mean, I'm living in the city limits now, and I mean, yeah, they can get here pretty fast right here where I live, but some woman was saying, she said, I like living in the rural area, and she said, as much as I have been taken to the hospital and had to sit there in the emergency room for a long time, she said, so what's the difference? She said, we can either sit in the emergency room and wait, or we can sit waiting for the ambulance to come pick us up. And the rest of the time, be happy where we're living. She has a point. But what do you guys think about that? Like, how many of you live outside the city limits versus inside the city limits? Have you ever considered that? Have you ever knew about the policy you can get to be airlifted from somewhere to the hospital? Because from what I understand, and I could be wrong, but from what I understand is Medicare and Medicaid no longer pay for life flight. It sounds crazy to me, and I think it's done per, what would you call it, per state. Some states do, some states don't. I don't know if this one does or not. So I don't know. There's so few doctors now, and so few nurses, and even in the ER. And I'll tell you, Bert took me to the ER the other day. I don't know if y'all watched the video on my other channel, RV Butterfly, at Reselling and Thrifting, but he took me there because of my heart fibrillating. This was before the echogram. And we got in there, and I could not believe the utter chaos that was going on. And there was no blankets for the patients. When I first got in the bed, they covered me up with a sheet that looked like it had been used, balled up. It was all wrinkly. And I am not kidding. This is the truth. And I was freezing. I don't know why, but I was freezing. You know, it's always cold in the hospital room anyway. And I asked him for a blanket. Well, the guy tried to go out in the hall and get the blanket. Well, I was sitting right there by those little heated ovens where they usually put the blanket, you know. And there was none. They had no blankets, no sheets. And I even saw during my stay there, one of the nurses or assistants or whatever making a cold compress out of ice from the ice machine. No, I kid you not. I kid you not. This was freaking me out. I was like, And I'm not in no tinky tiny little town, okay? Where I went, it was a medium-sized town. It has a lot of traffic. It has a lot of tourism. And they had sort of like a skeleton crew there that night, I guess. And it took hours. You know, they first gave me some kind of an MRI or CAT scan or something on my heart. I think it was a CAT scan. And when I came back to the room, the girl who had taken me to get the CAT scan, she said, "Listen, if they're busy or something and you're curious what's going on, you can always go to your chart online and you can read it." And I thought, oh, okay. Well, I felt so crappy. I just wanted to lay there. Well, we laid there I laid there. Bert sat there for, I don't know what, 3 hours. We got there about 9 that night and we left about 4 in the morning. But anyway, so, and they never hooked me back up to the IV. They never hooked me back up to the temperature. I mean, what do you call it? The blood pressure monitor. So I just had this IV sticking out of my arm, and I had, I had the cuff on the bed, you know, for the blood pressure. And, you know, it's really crazy because the thing that crossed my mind was, am I in the United States? It really did. It was like, this is terrible service. Terrible, terrible. I mean, and then they usually put a button that you can press to get the nurse, right? No, the button was somewhere else and Bert had to go find it and he got it and we kept asking them, you know, when's the doctor coming in? Finally, the doctor comes in about 3:30 in the morning. They said they were busy. I didn't see anything busy going on. I used to work in an emergency room in Florida, and I know how busy it can get, okay? And they did not look busy. As a matter of fact, I think they only had one inmate that the police brought in from maybe the jailhouse or something, I don't know. And other than that, you know, I didn't see anybody else. So I'm not sure what in the world was going on. And everybody was very nice. They apologized for the blankets. They apologized about the sheets. They apologized for everything. But that still does not remedy the whole situation, you know? So, what do you guys think about that? So, you know, if you're in a rural area or whether you're sitting at the ER for 3 or 4 hours, I guess it really don't freaking matter, does it? I mean, because, I don't know. It was crazy. I couldn't understand what was happening because I've never been to a hospital like that, ever. I'm not saying everybody was always skip-diddy-doo-dah and right there and get you ready and do this and that. No. That's not true either, but it baffled me. It really did, and I seen this little old lady come in about just before we left, and she had a cuff on her arm that, you know, they were wheeling her through the ER, and I could not help but think, gosh, I hope this little old lady does not lay there like I did for all them hours with nobody coming in to check on me. I don't know if any of you have ever watched Lava Lindy. She is an RVer. Well, she has a van, but a nice van. And she had to go, she's 80 now, I think. She had to go to get a open heart surgery, I guess you call it. And she said that, you know, she had her son drop her off because he had to go to work and everything. And so she had her son drop her off, and she said she sat in a room for 3 hours all by herself and nobody ever even came to check on her. You know, what's happening to our healthcare system? You know, so do we really need to be alarmed about where we live, and as long as it ain't up in the mountains somewhere too far? Because obviously you're going to be laying there at the ER too. So, I mean, and I expect that when it's busy or we got flu season or something like that, you never know. You know, things get busy. But it really baffled me. It really did. I just couldn't help but wonder, you know, and thank God that I was, you know, okay, and that Bert was with me. Yeah. Because that was kind of scary, especially with a fibrillating heart and shortness of breath, and yeah. But anywho, let me know down in the comments what you think about living out in a rural area when you're a senior or you have a disability or something like that, because I would like to get somebody else's opinion as well. Yeah, and anything else you want to talk about. Yeah. Make sure you give me a thumbs up, guys. Make sure you watch this video all the way through, because that helps me on the algorithm. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and hit the bell and you'll get all our videos as they come out. And let's see, what else do I... Oh, and share us out to your social media. And don't forget, I'm selling Avon now. And my Avon link should be in my description or in the comments somewhere. So you can go and check that out. Yeah, you just order right from the website. And you know, I love Avon. I always have. But I love the Skin So Soft because the mosquitoes don't. And I have found that that stuff really, truly works with the mosquitoes. So if you haven't got your mosquito repellent, go and get the Skin So Soft body oil. Yeah. Yeah, keep it for the whole summer. Because I don't know what's with the mosquitoes, but they just don't like that stuff. Even when I had horses, I would rub some on the horses to keep the flies and the mosquitoes away from them. And it actually did it. I love all you guys. I'll keep you posted and up to date. If you want to see what kind of jewelry I have for sale, I'm going to do probably a video tomorrow night on my RV Butterfly at Reselling and Thrifting channel. In the meantime, y'all have a great evening, and we will see you on the next one.